What's up, everyone? Champet's back again for another UFC predictions video. This time for Gilbert Burns versus Michael Morales, UFC Vegas. We're back at the Apex. I don't think this is one of the best cards I've seen this year, and I know that's coming from me, so that's kind of crazy because I say like a lot of these cards are pretty good, but I like the card in general, but like the main event, I'm not so crazy about. Co-main, not so much either. But I'm into fighting. I love fighting. I'm sure you do as well if you're watching this. So we'll be getting to that, but first, as always, we go over what happened last week, which was UFC 315, Jack Della Maddalena versus Bilal Muhammad. So here are the results I had last week. Um, could have went better, but like at the same time, it's pretty good considering a lot of the bets I was like very confident in ended up losing, which was the first two, which was Brad Katona and Zhang Young Lee. And we'll get into those. Brad Katona had a pretty good big bet on Brad Katona. I was like, oh yeah, he's gonna just take everything thrown at him from Beksat, and keep coming forward. No, he couldn't. He got knocked out for the first time in his career. So it's like, damn, he got knocked out bad. Yeah, I was in shock at the moment. It's like, damn, this dude Beksat. I think he does probably hit different. So I wasn't convinced of that with Umar getting dropped by him. And now I'm more convinced with Brad Katona getting finished. Like that's just not some one-off thing now. That was impressive as hell. So I mean, shout out to Beksat. Made me eat some crow. What's the next? Yeah, Zhang Young Lee was the next one. Daniel Santos. I was really shocked. Zhang Young Lee looked like not good at all. Honestly, I mean, he's had a good first round, but like rounds 2 and 3, the takedown defense just wasn't there. I was really surprised because I just don't think Daniel Santos is like, not necessarily he has no takedowns, of course. I'm more so mean like I thought the physicality just be too much. Honestly, I really did, and I mean I was dead wrong. It didn't really matter. Fair play to Daniel Santos at 145. I still have belief in Zhang Young Lee. I still have belief in Zhang Young Lee, but yeah, he's got a lot of things to work on and get better at. Like it was just that was a sucky thing to see. I think the next fight I had to bet on, even though I ended up not getting the hit because of Brad Katona, plus 3.5, hurt my soul. Navajo Sterling to win. I ended up live betting Navajo Sterling in that fight. I thought I like what I saw in that fight. Not because he necessarily looked great against Urslan. I wouldn't even say he did, to be honest with you. I thought Urslan had like made it competitive. But I like what I'm seeing from Sterling that he's having these challenges early. And he's like he's absolutely super green still. He absolutely is super green still. And because of how green he is, I mean, he's just being thrust into the UFC at such a young age, and I mean, not young age. I don't even know how young he is, but at a young point in his career, and getting these like matchups that are pretty tough. In considering like Tuco Tokos is a debut for most like experienced mixed martial artists, maybe not the hardest thing ever. And I mean, I thought Sterling made it look pretty easy in that fight. Um, but like I think it was a good learning experience. This fight also really good learning experience. I like seeing him grapple. I thought he looked pretty good in the grappling. Um, I have to say Sterling's defense. I want that to be improved because he has the sort of thing where he just moves back and he's like just because of how long he is, he can get away with it. As he gets up the division, he's not going to be able to get away with that. So I really hope he gets that fixed sooner rather than later. But worked out here. That was another good test for Navajo. Ended up passing. He probably is going to eventually lose not that long from now, but I have hopes for this guy's future. I think Navajo's pretty good, and I think he's got crazy potential. And I think I like what I'm seeing. I love the maturity, not necessarily going crazy for finishes. He still does have crazy power, so that's always going to be there for him at any point. But you don't have to force it. You don't have to force it, especially when things are going your way. I like how Navajo looked, so I'm probably one of the only ones who's going to give him credit for that performance. I mean, I was the same exact thing with the Tuco Tokos fight. Yeah, I like Navajo. I rate him pretty highly. He's my kind of fighter I like to bet on. The next fight I had to bet on, yeah, Marc-Andre Barriault, Bruno Silva. I made this bet after weigh-ins, after seeing like, man, Bruno's done. He's done. This, and I said like, I've sealed my fate. Like I'm okay with whatever happens if Marc-Andre just gets chinned randomly. I'll live when I even would putting this much like these many units down. It was a great bet in hindsight. Yeah, I feel for Bruno. That was a brutal KO. Out for a while. I think he's okay, so that's good. But I mean, Marc-Andre just came at him, elbows in the clinch. There was not much more to really say about it. Uh, Great win by Marc-Andre Barriault in front of the home crowd. Surprised to get the bonus, to be honest, because it's Bruno Silva after all. But like at this point, Bruno Silva, I should say. At one point, it would have made like, oh wow, that's impressive as hell. But I think Bruno Silva at this point is just done. I hope for the best for him. I pray for him. Yeah. The next fight I had to bet on, I believe, is Jasmine. Jasmine slash Jessica Andrade. I had a fight ends by TKO bet on that fight, and also had Jasmine win by round 2 or 3 TKO. Very very disappointed. I knew Andrade had a chance of being like completely like checked out, but I thought there was like a very live chance for Jasmine to get TKO, and she probably could have if she went for it, but the sub was right there. Jessica Andrade checked out, didn't really want to have anything crazy to do with this fight, especially because if Jasmine's going to take you to the ground, she's going to beat you up. I understand it from Andrade's point of view. Not mad at the bet, especially at the odds, but it is what it is. I took a swing on it. I was willing to go with it. Great one by Jasmine, though. Jasmine looked amazing. I was like, I know I said in my breakdown I was like pretty hesitant on Jasmine's. Like, I see a lot of people saying she was a lock or whatever, and I don't know, not sure if I really agree. Fair play. She was a lock. Fair play. Yeah, that was a great win by Jasmine. The next bet I had a card was Mike Malott to beat Charles Radke. I pat myself on the back there. I felt pretty good after like, because I did tape study on that one. I was like, man, these are pretty crazy odds on Mike Malott. And it was like the odds kept coming down and down and down. And I looked into the fight. I was like, oh man, Charles Radke's probably value. No, he wasn't. He wasn't. It was quite the opposite. Mike Malott looked great. I thought it was a buy low spot on Mike Malott. Absolutely was, I think. So yeah, just the striking was just too much. I said I also had a pretty big bet on Mike Malott to out like significant strike Charles Radke. Pretty good considering the distance management was very good, as I mentioned in the video. And I think that was like kind of the big difference. I think that really played a big difference here. And Mike Malott is able to find the shots on Charles Radke and dropped him pretty bad in round 2 and got him out of there. So props to Mike Malott. Next fight I had bet on Amin Zahabi to beat Jose Aldo. I had some money on Zahabi. And oh man, Zahabi scorecards, no action. That was such a good bet in hindsight. It got really scary at one point because he got hurt really bad in round 3, but almost had him. Almost had Aldo there. Props to Zahabi even surviving that onslaught in round 3 from Aldo. That was scaring the living crap out of me. But yeah, I think that was like a pretty great bet. Round 1, Aldo looked amazing. I thought Aldo looked like he was doing everything he wanted, but it felt like Amin Zahabi was getting the reads. And round 2, the defense of Zahabi working excellent. It looked great. And I thought he won that round pretty clearly. And then round 3, big moves from Aldo. Hurts Zahabi bad. But then he got himself out in that process. And because of that, Zahabi's able to take back the round, land big shots, and win as a result. I will say this is also another point like towards people, if you gas out or whatever, the judges hate that. They hate body language where you gas out. That's just the truth. And yeah, that's something to note. So yeah, Amin Zahabi, great win. Shout out to Aldo retiring. I wish him the best, and yeah. The next fight I had a bet on Jack Della Maddalena beat Bilal Muhammad. I didn't go crazy on it, and man, I have to say, Jack Della impressed the crap out of me. He looked amazing. Takedown defense was on point. The scrambles when the fight did end up hitting the ground, incredible. I mean, this dude can scramble with the best of them. Um, on the feet, Jack Della Maddalena on the feet, the hands, they're a thing of beauty. He's so good there, and I was so impressed. The cardio, incredible. I mean, I have to rate. This is one of the best performances of the year, in my opinion. Even if you think like Bilal won like a few rounds or whatever, I think it goes without saying like how Jack looked. Even those rounds he may have lost, I thought he looked incredible, and yeah, that made me feel really good. And yeah, and then he ended up making me have profit tonight. So shout out to Jack Della Maddalena. So yeah, those are my bets for that card. Now let's go over the topology picks. I did pretty all right. I went 9 of 12, not too bad. Already talked about those two. Sucks that those are some of the ones I bet. Talked about that one. But this is Bukowskis versus Ian Cutelaba. I went with Bukowskis. I was not confident going in. I will say I ended up live betting on Bukowskis after what was it? Round 2. After round 2. Um I have to say the commentary on this fight was egregious, especially in round 1. Why were they assuming Ian Cutelaba clearly won round 1? I thought if you look at the stats, like UFC stats, and I know stats are not the end all be all, but the making it seem like Modestas is not landing anything. He was definitely landing the better shots, and sure, Cutelaba was landing a little bit more. But what were they? Not so big shots. So it was a close round. Round 1 was close, and I thought Modestas edged it out because he landed the bigger shots. And I know the live betting line after round 1, Modestas was up. He was the favor in that point. So it's ridiculous. Round 2, clear as day Ion. Round 3, clear as day Bukowskis. Comes down to round 1. I thought Modestas won, and I live bet that, and I felt pretty good. Yeah, I think the commentators really blown Kutulaba's work in round 1. Yeah, I thought Bukowskis did a good job landing big. What else do I want to say? It does look he's improved. I did mention that in my breakdown. Is like I think the only reason why I really went with Bukowskis because I thought I think he is improving after seeing his last few performances. Going on his resume. What do I want to say about this? Yeah, the commentary again terrible in my opinion. The bias as hell. But yeah, shout out to Bukowskis, I guess. Talked about that one. Benoit Saint Denis beating Kyle Prepolek. I mean, what's there to say? Is I said the over was probably a good look, and it did hit, but I didn't end up betting it. Benoit, he didn't look so good. When the fight was on the feet, I felt he needs more time with this guy, like in Mavov's coach. He needs more time. He needs to get better there with that guy. I have hope because of that. But yeah, the grappling, you can't take that away from Benoit Saint Denis. He can grapple for days. He's a really good grappler. So yeah, that not much would really say there. Natalia Silva, Alexa Grasso. I went with Silva. I have things to say about this fight. Natalia Silva, I thought she looked good. Thought she clearly won easy. I will say this though. Round 1 was interesting. Because Grasso took a different approach. I'm not really seeing many opponents take against Natalia Silva, where she was let her lead the dance, sort of. And no, she didn't win that when doing that. But it feels like Natalia Silva's game is staying at distance and being against the cage and just moving. When that was not the case, and she was the one trying to pressure, she's getting hit a lot more than I was expecting that to happen, especially when she had so much room to back away. And especially with Grasso being pretty one-dimensional overall. She's all right, pretty all right boxer, pretty good boxer. It's kind of about it. She was landing. I was very impressed by that. Not impressed. That's not true. What am I saying? I was surprised is what I meant to say. I was she's having a lot more success with this counter-striking approach. It was not enough success, and it was not going to be something she's going to be able to do in rounds 2 and 3, which is why she changed her approach. And when she did that, she was not. It was Natalia Silva fight at that point. So, what does that tell me? I think if someone with the more how do you say this More skills? Like I feel nasty saying that. Not that Grosso's not skilled or anything like that. Her footwork's not good. It's just the truth. That gym she comes from doesn't have good footwork. Diego Lopez, Alexa Grasso, especially Renee Aldana, that gym just does not have footwork. They don't. It just does not compute for them. So there's that to mention. But I think someone with an approach like that, someone like a Valentina Shevchenko, maybe even a Manon Fiorot, who have more tools in the resume, can counter strike, and are willing to let their opponent come to them, is like, okay, I'm not going to play your game. You come to me. I mean, that's Valentina's whole thing. I think they can have success against a girl like Natalia Silva. I think that's just something I'm considering. I think when I saw round one, of course, it, like I said, didn't go Grasso's way, but people with more, probably better speed, have better, maybe even length and width, or not width, because Valentina Shevchenko and Manon Fiorot much bigger than Alexa Grasso, who look smaller against Natalia Silva. She's a former 115 girl, of course she is. Yeah, I just think that's something to consider going down the line. I think I like Valentina Shevchenko or Manon Fiorot to take out Natalia Silva. And I know I hear a lot of people saying Natalia Silva is the best in the division. I don't think so. I think these top two girls, Manon Fiorot and Valentina Shevchenko, are going to be really tough for her. But great win though, by the way. Great win though. Talked about that one. Manon Fiorot, Valentina Shevchenko. I went with Manon Fiorot, but I was like, I told you, I was like 0 confidence. The only reason why I went with Manon Fiorot was because I think she'd be the only one having real takedown success. And honestly, I know Valentina had more takedowns, and I'm so sad because I had some pretty big money on Manon Fiorot to get more takedowns at like plus money, like plus 200 something. Very, very sad about that. Because Manon Fiorot took that approach. She was going for takedowns. And if she got one more, it would have voided, but it's okay. And this is a pretty like worst case scenario for Manon Fiorot, especially like round one. That could not have gone any worse. Got her like nose hurt bad, taken down. But then she did a great job readjusting. And honestly, low-key could have won. I don't know. It was a really close fight. I'm not mad Valentina got the decision by any means. But it was close. I will say that. I mean, if Manon Fiorot doesn't get dropped round 4, she wins the fight. So that's something to consider. I hope they don't. I really want to see a rematch. It was everything I wanted to be. I said going in, this is my most hyped fight of the year. It lived up to my expectations. It was a chess match. It was extremely close. These are the two best girls in this division by far, in my opinion. I hope they rematch at one point. And if they do rematch, I think I'm pretty bullish on Manon Fiorot to win the rematch, if I'm being honest with you. Like, this was like as worst case scenario this could have been. And I think Manon Fiorot would make the adjustments. But does she even get back to this point? I don't know. We'll see. She's getting older. Again, though, women's MMA age doesn't matter nearly as much as like it does in men's MMA. So she does have time. I think she is good enough to do so. But we'll see. I thought it was a great performance by both. I like what I saw from both. And man, Valentina Shevchenko she's so good, Valentina. So shout out to her. I think Valentina beats Zhang Weili. I think she beats Natalia Silva. We're like the coming up contenders. So I will say that. Yeah, like I know people think like Zhang Weili can beat Valentina, but I think just the difference between weight classes is just too much. It's just too much, and I think that difference is something you have to absolutely consider heavily, and that favors Valentina heavily. So, yep. Next fight. This card, I'm very excited. Luana Pinheiro versus Tisha Pennington. Give me Tisha. I'll go decision, but honestly, I don't hate this or this, but decision. Actually, I'm very curious what these odds are. I will say this: if you go on Bovada and you see Tisha Pennington to win round 2 to start, minus 270, that's better than her money line. Same thing, Tisha Pennington to win in round 3 to start, minus 220. That's better than their money line. You might as well take one of those. I think at the very least round 2. Round 3, there's possibility of like at the end of round 2, maybe Pinheiro quits or something like that. There's a possibility of that. I think it's pretty low. I think if Pennington's getting a finish, it's going to be in round 3. Minus 230 in round 3 by decision. Yeah. But this Tisha Pennington to win in round 3 to start minus 220 is better. So you might as well bet that instead of the round 3 on Bovada. But yeah, I like Tisha Pennington here. I think she's gonna work Pinheiro. I'm about as low on Pinheiro as anyone can be. I don't think she's good. I think she's gotten away with a few against Michelle Waterson Gomez. I don't think she won that fight. She's lost a bunch in a row now, and rightfully so. Tisha's she's still really good. I know that Carla Esparza fight wasn't like necessarily the best look, but I think Carla Esparza's levels above Luana Pinheiro, even retiring. I don't. Luana can crack, but Tisha's got a good chin, so I trust Tisha's chin. I trust in the Tiny Tornado being able to put up volume. I think she's gonna put up volume on Pinheiro, and because of that, she's gonna melt her. She's gonna melt her, and I think she's gonna win. She wins round 3 at a very high clip, and I think rounds 1 and 2. I think she'll win at least one of those, and they'll at worst they'll be close. At worst they'll be close. I think she just cooks. She cooks her, especially going in. Maybe I know Pinheiro is pretty good early, so maybe like a Tisha Pennington live play after round 1. That's fair play, but Tisha's just too good. I think she can have wrestling success as well. Like pushing her up against the cage. I think it's very, very possible. I think Tisha's gonna cook her. I don't even hate the minus 3.5 on Tisha. I'm not super crazy about it though. Like I do have a bet on her straight. I have the round 2 to start, Pennington to win. That's what I have at minus 270. So I feel like that's basically her money line. So yeah, I'm riding with Tisha here. I like her to win. Hyun Sung Park versus Carlos Hernandez. I'm going Hyun Sung Park. I think he's live to get a submission, to be honest, but I'll go decision. I'll give credit to Hernandez. I think he's tough. I'm not like I had a bet on that Tumen Dembarel fight where it was like Tumen Dembarel rounds 1 and 2 KO or something like that, and then Hernandez decision, and it was like both plus money. Hernandez gave me a heart attack there. Low key made me should not have won that fight, but it was really, really close. But that was just not a good look. Hyun Sung Park actually can grapple here. I don't give Hernandez the grappling advantage like it did in the last fight against Tumen Dembarel. I think Hyun Sung Park is gonna have success in the grappling. I like what I've seen, especially like looking at his social media and stuff like that. I think he's working on that part of his game very well. I think the UFC wanted him to win here. I don't think they're trying to get Hernandez to fight all these Asian fighters from the road to the UFC and just to win over all of them. I think Park's very, very live to win, and I think I like him a lot. I played his money line. I think he's gonna work him, and I think that sub is very, very live. But I think he's gonna be able to control him on the ground and work like that. And honestly, on the feet, Hernandez is probably better minute winner. Moment winner is definitely Hyun Sung Park. He can crack. So yeah, I feel not as worried betting this money line because Hernandez doesn't hit so hard, and that's why I'm like willing to do it, especially with someone with a grappling advantage. I think Hernandez's path to victory is a very close split decision. I just think it goes Hyun Sung Park's way. So yep, give me Hyun Sung Park. Denise Gomes versus Elise Reed. Oh, I love Elise Reed. I hate doing this, but yeah, I'm going Gomes. I'll go decision. I'm going to go a little crazy with that. Gomes really disappointed me last time out. I'll say that against Carolina. I thought she may probably get a finish there. And to be fair, Carolina's not bad by any means. But I know with Reed, the takedown defense is pretty bad for her. It's a clear path for Gomes with takedowns and working that. But that Carolina fight was just such a bad look, and it was, to me, not because she looked bad or necessarily like it's like that, but I feel like she did a really bad job at covering her price tag. And I just get these vibes from Denise Gomes. She's not someone you want to trust with like a price tag, like a super nasty price tag. Honestly, if it's on the feet, I still lean Gomes, but Reed can absolutely compete. And this fight will not look like minus, what even is she right now? 650. She won't cover that price tag. But if she wrestles, fair play. She's glad to get a sub. A play I'd maybe look to play it is like Gomes, sub or decision. I think that's possible. But even then, it's like a chalk, so it's nasty for me. It's to stay away. I don't want anything to do with this. Yeah, Gomes probably should win though. If she grapples, it should be easy work. Luana Santos, Tainara Lisboa. I'm gonna go Lisboa. I think she wins a decision. I will see this. I'm worried seeing that she's coming back from constructive knee surgery or whatever it is. But something to do with like her leg. That worries me because she was literally not able to walk. But I'm not crazy about Luana Santos. I don't think she's that good. What do I want to say? I mean, I'm not going to be mad at Luana Santos losing the case. King Casey. I was on King Casey pretty big there. Why? Because she was short notice, flew all the way across to a different continent against Casey O'Neill in her hometown. Well, not hometown, but home country. And what else? I mean, I thought she was pretty outmatched in that fight, to be honest with you. I don't like her going back up to 135. I know she looked pretty all right against Stephanie Edgar at 135, but even then, I don't think Edgar's like the best girl in the world. I like Lisboa on the feet here. It worries me because she does get like kind of dirty with it, and because of that, it's gonna lead to clinch exchanges. And you know, Luana Santos is gonna be looking for those judo throws. But I do think Lisboa is probably a little better in the clinch, and she's a true 135er, which I like in this matchup. And she's pretty physical herself, so I have belief. I believe in Lisboa to be able to work Santos on the feet, who I think is just terrible on the feet. She has pop, don't get me wrong, but I think she'll get out worked on the feet by Lisboa all day here. And so I'm relying on that. At these odds, I think it's wild. I do not know why the line keeps moving towards Santos at this point. I think it's pretty ridiculous. So, I mean, give me Lisboa. I'm probably going to have a small bet on it. Probably going to make like 0.5 units or something like that. Nothing crazy. Because I am worried about the reconstructive surgery, the layoff. But I think Lisboa's pretty alright. I think she's pretty underrated. And Luana Santos, not the best. So, I'll take Lisboa. Connor Matthews versus Yair. I didn't really tape this one. I'm going to be honest with you. Duval. I'm going to go Duval. I think I'll give Connor Matthews some credit. I think he'll be tough for this one. Duval is not really been like the best finisher in like the regional scene, as we can see. I know he has pretty sneaky front chokes. I know he does carry some power. I think Connor Matthews will be tough for this one. And actually, I'm curious, like, what's the over? 2.5 minus 115. I don't hate it. Duval to win in round 3 to start. But I will say this: I don't think Connor Matthews is as out of this fight at all. To be honest with you, I think he absolutely can win this fight. Which is like, I want to stay away from this. I don't think this Duval guy is anything crazy, but he's pretty good. It's not like I know what the UFC's doing, and they're trying to get this guy a win off a guy who they're just like, who cares about Connor Matthews? What they're thinking. I don't really have much to really add. I didn't tape this one too much, so I'll put that with a grain of salt. But I'd say like Matthews is probably live, but so I personally just want to stay away. Jared Gordon versus Thiago Moises. This is so tough for me. I'm gonna go Moises to win a decision, but I will say this: I had a huge bet on Nasser Haqparast to beat Jared Gordon last time out when Jared Gordon last fought. I got extremely lucky. Because Haqparast probably did not win that fight. Gordon looked fantastic in that fight. Honestly, he's looked good in these fights, to be honest with you. He's looked good in all these fights. So it's scary to back Thiago Moises at these odds. I guess they're more bettable now than they were early in the week, which is like pick 'em. Plus 107. I think there's top time upside for Moises, but like, oh, it worries me, especially with Gordon, who's gonna be pressuring a bunch. Oh man, I don't like it. Like maybe I'll get myself to put a really small bet on Moises, but I wouldn't be surprised if he gets like cooked and like because I know he doesn't handle pressure the best, so that's worrying to me. I do think he's a younger guy training at ATT, which I like. I like that more than the Fighting Nerds, if I'm being honest with you. So I am going with Moises, but yeah, I'd be lying if I told you I was like very very confident. Like when I was looking at the bets this week, I was like, oh Moises, that makes sense. And then I looked into it, I was like, not so much, not so much, not so much. So I'll go with Moises, but I'm not confident. I'm probably better stay away, to be honest with you. Mateus Camilo versus Gabe Green. Speaking of fight to stay away, this is one of the fights that stood out to me, and it's like, oh, I want to look into this one. I think I want to bet Camilo. I am gonna go Camilo to win. Go decision. I know it's kind of crazy to think that because Camilo does have heavy hands. He tries getting finishes, but I looked into it and I was like, damn, I want to bet this guy. I didn't think he looked that good in his last fight against the guy who came on stage for UFC 308 or with the Topuria Max Holloway. He's like, oh, I want to fight or whatever. And then he fought Camilo and he lost. I'm not crazy about what I've been seeing with this guy. Camilo got. I don't like how he's. You can take him down, and I don't like you can able to control him for a little bit. He does find his way back up, granted, but it irks me, especially because he's a former 145er, now a lightweight. Now he's fighting Gabe Green. He's a former 170 guy, 155. 155 is probably fair for Gabe Green, and he looked great on the scales too. At these odds, man, I just can't do it. I do think Camilo wins. I think he's going to be the cleanest striker. But I'd be shocked if Gabe Green pulls up off an upset after what I was looking at? No. Gabe Green's only lost to really good competition. D-Rod, pretty all right, especially at this time 4 years ago. Ian Machado Gary, pretty freaking good guy to lose to. Brian Battle, he got caught pretty bad. Brian Battle's really good. He's only really lost good guys, so tread carefully, I think. I am going to go Camilo. I think he's the cleanest striker. I'm not sure if Gabe Green's all in as much anymore. I know he's become a passer, so respect to him. Long time layoff, but I mean, after a KO like that, I get it. 155, I do probably like that for Gabe Green after he looked on the scale, but maybe his chin's diminished. I don't know. I'll go Camilo, but I'm not confident. Julian Erosa versus Mel Costa. Give me Erosa. I think he'll win submission decision. I'll go decision. I got a lot of decisions in this card, but I wouldn't be shocked if submission. Actually, I'll go submission. Yeah, round 2. Julian Erosa. I think he's gonna put it on Mel Costa. I know Julian Erosa's chin is very, very scary to back. But I will say this, I'm not crazy about Mel Costa's like hands or anything like that. I know he's very heavily kick based, but a guy as tall as Erosa, I've not really seen Mel Costa really throw too many head kicks, to be honest. I have to say that. He's more of a body kick, low kick kind of guy. So there's that. I have liked how Mel Costa's been looking as of late. I think he's been looking really good. So is Julian Erosa. Maybe not so much against Darren Elkins, but I mean, I don't really like. I think he just fought in a way where it's like, it's fun. It's the Julian Erosa kind of way to fight. Just have fun and go to war, and it's like, but it's like Elkins wasn't really going to be able to do anything to Erosa. So it's like, I don't put too much like, oh, he looked bad. I don't really think that matters. I think Julian Rosa's still really good. But man, Julian Rosa's submission series is so good. His front chokes are a thing of beauty. The guillotine, the darce. Oh my goodness. I think he can absolutely catch Mel Costa, who gets sub attempts put on him, like he always does, and that he's going to be the one probably going for takedowns. Um, and so I forgot to mention this on the feet. He, like I said, Mel Costa is primarily a kicker. Julian Rosa is going to be pressuring. He's not going to give him space to work on kicks. So I think Julian Rosa has a chance to work him on the feet even as well. Um, I like Juicy J here. I think Juicy J is going to be able to put it on Mel Costa, who has a pretty suspect gas tank. Who knows how it's going to be, especially with him cutting weight again and again and again. I appreciate the activity of Mel Costa, but it comes to a point where it's like diminishing returns. I mean, I know Rosa's making a quick turnaround too, but not as active in comparison. Yeah, give me Juicy J. I think he's very, very live to win this. I'm probably gonna have a small bet on him. Nosa Ruzaboya versus Dustin Soltzvus. If you've been following me, you know I can't stand either of these guys. I don't think either are good. Give me Ruzaboyev KO round 1. I think Dustin Stoltz is just there to get hit, and then Ruzaboyev is gonna hit him and put him down and probably win. I don't really have much more to say about it. I will say probably live. Maybe look at Dustin Stoltzfus if he survives round 1. I think he's live to probably drown Ruzaboyev, who's just not the best gas tank. Pretty terrible takedown defense. His whole thing is just a Kimura trap on bottom and then just go on top off the Kimura. If you're good at that, you'll be fine. But I don't put it past Dustin Stoltzfus to just get worked on a Kimura trap, even though I'd probably rate this cardio as grappling better. I'm going round 1 KO Ruzaboyev. Just no confidence. Sodiq Yusuff versus Myron Santos. I hate picking this fight. I want to pick Sodiq so bad. I really, 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 really want to pick Sodiq, and I hope I'm wrong. I'm going Myron Santos to win a decision. You're talking to a guy who had a big bet on Francis Marshall to beat Myron Santos. That hurts my soul, man. He won that fight, Francis Marshall. Clearly, I thought he clearly won at least rounds 1 and 2. You can even argue round 3, but rounds 1 and 2, no debate. And I know people bring up the numbers, like the signature strike. The shots that Francis Marshall was hitting on Myron Santos were a lot more meaningful than the ones Myron Santos was landing on. And I described this in my video, that breakdown I gave for Francis Marshall versus Myron Santos. He's who people think Leon Edwards is. That's who he is. He's very low volume. He hasn't been really knocking dudes out and stuff like that. I worry about the speed disadvantage for Sodiq. Sodiq can crack, though. I will say that. I wouldn't be shocked if Sodiq cracks him and puts him out. It's very, very possible. I mean, Francis Marshall did it. I think this is a step up in competition. I will say that. But it's just like Sodiq's chin is so bad. It hurts me. I know this is on 155. So that's something to mention. I think Sodiq could probably have wrestling success. But I've heard all the stuff about Sodiq's back and injuries. And now he's coming in healthy finally. This is at 155 again. Man, I feel dirty because I really want to pick Sodiq so bad, but I feel like I just can't. I'm not betting no Myron Santos. I don't think he's that good. I'm going to find a spot to fade him. Maybe it's here, and I'll miss out. And I'll be very, very sad if I do. But I don't think this Myron Santos guy is special. I don't. I do think he probably wins, but yeah. I don't have confidence in this guy by any means. Paul Craig versus Adolfo Bellato. Speaking of a guy I want to fade, give me Paul Craig to win by submission. I don't care. This dude Adolfo Bellato just ain't it. I think he's pretty terrible, to be honest with you. He's low fight IQ. There's odds on. How can this be right? So Paul Craig is plus, his money line is plus 330 or something like that, 350. Then if you look who gets the more takedowns, Bellato minus 400 plus 275. If Bellato does end up getting more takedowns, he is not covering that line he is on the money line, because that means he takes down Paul Craig, and he's a dumb fool for doing it. And I guess, of course, maybe that misses because Paul Craig pulls guard or something like that, and yeah, I get it. But it's if he goes for takedown, oh my God, please go for takedowns on Paul Craig. I dare you. I just don't think this Bellato guy is good. Yeah, I know he can probably KO Paul Craig on the feet. I don't care. I'm just gonna fade this guy till I get it. It's going to happen. It's going to happen sooner rather than later. And I think Paul Craig can honestly get it done with like a sub or something like that. Maybe he finds a way to get Belal down. Paul Craig's by no means a small 205er. I know he was at 185 for a while. Now he's going back up to 205. That's fair. He's beating a lot of dudes at 205. I don't put it past Belal to lose as Paul Craig. Yeah, give me Paul Craig. Gilbert Burns versus Michael Morales. I'm gonna go Michael Morales. But I'll have a little bit of a hot take. I'll go Michael Morales to win. My computer's messing up. There we go. To win by decision. I think Gilbert Burns can be tough and survive to go like long and maybe even like find ways to get to scrambles on the ground and at least survive that kind of thing. But I do think like physicality difference is ridiculous for Michael Morales. It is. It's hard to ignore against a guy like Gilbert. I know he fought Hamza, did pretty well, but that was like a while ago. The odds are crazy. I won't say that. But I think Michael Morales probably. I like him training with Belal and that crew, Ignacio Bahamondes. He hits different. I do get that. So, I mean, I think it's pretty clear Michael Morales will win. But I will say this: I wouldn't be shocked if he does end up losing because he is green. He is very, very green still, and I think as he gets up in this division right now, I think it's going to be like really tough for Michael Morales because he's going to lose eventually, like not that long from now. It's going to happen, and it's because of how green he is. This could absolutely can become a world champion, Michael Morales. Absolutely. He has got all the skills in the world, all the tools in the world. He's going to keep getting better. That's the thing in the future for sure. But as of now, I think it's going to be due for a loss not that long for now. I hope it's Leon. I hope Leon Edwards versus Michael Morales happens because I like Leon to win that fight because he's going to be another big guy at the weight class fighting Michael Morales. And Leon's just done it all. He's got all the experience in the world. In that fight, I think he can work Michael Morales there. But in the meantime, I think Gilbert Burns loses. I think he'll put up a fight and be like, oh, I did pretty all right. But yeah, I think Michael Morales is going to win at the end of the day. So yeah. Now let's get into the 6 strikes and more takedown bets. Tisha Pennington, more 6 strikes. Pretty safe. More takedowns. I'm not so sure. I guess I would go Tisha, but not so crazy about that. Yontech Park, Carlos Hernandez, more takedowns, Park, more 6 strikes, probably Carlos Hernandez because he just has more volume. Denise Gomes, Elise Reed, more takedowns, Denise Gomes for sure. More 6 strikes is interesting. Probably Denise Gomes because she can probably get 6 strikes from like ground positions and stuff like that. But I don't hate like an Elise Reed play if it's like pretty good odds. Like let me check the odds right now. On Elise Reed, more significant strikes. Plus you 30. It's not crazy enough about that. Yeah, I'll pass on that part. Tainara Lisboa, Luan Santos. I think I like Lisboa, more significant strikes and more takedowns. Probably Luana. I doubt. I mean, I don't know. I don't put it past Lisboa to go for a takedown, but probably Luan Santos, more takedowns is the way to go. Connor Matthews. Yeah, I haven't looked into this one. Probably 6 strikes. Belal because Connor Matthews just punch. More takedowns. Probably Connor Matthews. He's probably gonna be the one trying to go for that approach, if anything. So that'd probably be how I would look at this fight. Garrett Gordon, Moises. I'd probably go Moises. More takedowns, more 6 strikes. Probably Jared Gordon, to be honest with you, but that might be close. Not so crazy about that. Camilo, Gabe Green, more takedowns, I think, is very possible to hit. And then Camilo, more 6 strikes is how I would lean. Arosa Mel Costa, more takedowns, probably Mel Costa. Juicy J, because I do think he'll probably get takedowns, and Juicy J will probably jump for guillotines and Darce chokes and stuff like that. More 6 strikes. Give me Arosa. I think he's going to put it on Mel Costa, especially as the fight goes on. Rustin Ruzaboyev, Dustin Stoltzfus. I lean 6 strikes, I guess, for Ruzaboyev, but like he like throws a lot of one-shot stuff, so like that's the worry. And Stoltzfus probably more takedowns. I think the only one really going for any like that. Sadiq Yusuf, Myron Santos, more takedowns. Sadiq for sure. More 6 strikes. I mean, Myron Santos doesn't have that great of volume, to be honest with you. So like, I probably lean Sadiq low key. So my thoughts. Bellato, Craig, more six strikes, probably Bellato, let's be real. And then Paul Craig, more takedowns. At the odds, it's ridiculous, and you'll get your money back if they tie. Plus 220 is Paul Craig's path to victory. And pair that if Bellato gets a takedown and Paul Craig's on the ground, he's not going to be covering that money line. You want to rather be on Paul Craig if that happens. So yeah. Gilbert Burns, Michael Morales. Michael Morales, more six strikes. I think that's pretty clear. I don't really know where Gilbert Burns could be able to get six strikes because he's just so outmatched physicality wise, hardware wise. Then more takedowns. Oh, it's tough. I guess I'll go Gilbert because I think he'd be the only one really going for it. But I wouldn't be surprised if Michael Morales counters him and stuff like that in that department. So yeah, that's my breakdown. Thanks so much for watching. Uh, you can check me out at champbetsmma.com or champbets on betmma.tips. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks so much for watching. Let's have a great one. And we'll be back for more fights. Not next week, because I don't think we have fights that week, but the week after. We will be there. Very excited. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great one.